John Fury's a big bully, and big bullies need putting in their place. And if I'm the man that has to do it, I will do it. I don't want to beat an old man up. I don't want to start on a 60-year-old man. But when I look back, when I beat George Groves up in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley Stadium, rendering him unconscious, he was 11 years younger than me.
You know, let's put it this way. You've had plenty to say. I'll stand by every word I've said. You don't like me. Let's see what you can do about it. Hater versus top father.
I don't see the sense of it. What do you want to go sparring for? Behind closed doors? Let all the fans see it. Do it in a ring, get paid for it. I mean, it's been the biggest fight ever. Why do you want to do that? That's nonsense. It's stupid.
Carl Froch just dropped a heavyweight sparring partner with one devastating punch, and John Fury's reaction is absolutely wild. The Gypsy King isn't just unimpressed. He's fired up, defiant, and ready to prove that sparring knockouts mean absolutely nothing when you're facing a real animal like him.
Screaming and swearing, you saw it all. I did a response video, did very good numbers, thanks for watching. But yeah, he's since come back again. I thought he was going to go away and get quiet.
Here's what everyone's missing about this whole situation. Froch released this sparring footage strategically, showing him timing a heavyweight perfectly and putting him down with surgical precision. The boxing world went crazy, with fans saying the Cobra still has that killer instinct at his age. But John Fury? He watched that same footage and basically laughed in Froch's face. His response was pure Gypsy King confidence, zero fear, full belief in his own ability to handle whatever Froch thinks he can bring. And you know what's wild? John's not wrong to be confident. Sparring and real fighting are two completely different animals, and John Fury has been in real wars his entire life.
He hits harder than people expect, I think a lot of people, obviously, they pick up on his boxing and how good of a boxer he is, but he hits harder than people expect.
And Dillian Whyte, obviously, I'm sure you've seen. Have you sparred Dillian?
I haven't. Dillian's like one fighter I haven't sparred in the UK, so yeah.
Well, surely you've seen plenty of his fights. How do you see the stylistic matchup playing out between the two?
Very good. Dillian's a good fighter. I mean, that's the thing. Dillian knows how to have a fight. It'll be good. I think I know how it turns out, but it'll be a good fight.
But here's where it gets absolutely insane. David Haye jumped into this mess, backing up Froch's power and reminding everyone that people constantly underestimate what the former super middleweight champion can still do. Haye's pointing out that Froch's timing and strength haven't disappeared just because he's older. That knockout in sparring proves the Cobra's still venomous, still dangerous, and still capable of shutting off anyone's lights if they sleep on him. The problem is, John Fury has never been the type to sleep on anybody. He's been watching his son Tyson dominate heavyweights for years, and he genuinely believes he's cut from the same cloth. The confidence isn't fake, it's bred into his DNA.
I feel like I might be the chosen one. I feel like it might be my job to finally shut this big gobshite up. All he does is run around, running his mouth, beating his chest, the ultimate man and all that bollocks. So John, for one final time, listen to me so it goes into that thick skull. I accept your challenge, but know one thing. When that first bell goes, I'm going to come over to your corner and absolutely stick it on you, Cobra style, and set about you and make a mess of you. You know why? Because you're a bully and you need putting in your place. You're a bully and you're making a mockery of the...
Now listen to this part. Froch is absolutely fired up and calling out John Fury directly. He's not playing games or trying to be diplomatic. Froch is promising that when that bell rings, he's coming to attack with full force and bad intentions. The Cobra is framing John as nothing more than a bully who needs to be put in his place, and he's confident that his boxing skill and ring IQ will expose John's limitations. But here's the kicker: Froch is also showing that calculated respect that comes from understanding he's dealing with a genuinely dangerous man. John Fury might not have the professional accolades, but he's got that old-school toughness and unpredictability that can make any fight dangerous.
I'm hearing things that he's been dropped in the ring in the gym and stuff like that, but that's okay too, because I took a couple spills, little slips in the ring in the gym. That's okay, but we're gonna see. This is going.
And get this, Shannon Briggs stepped in with some reality about sparring knockdowns. Big Daddy's reminding everyone that even the best fighters get dropped in training, and it doesn't tell the full story of what happens when the lights are brightest. Briggs knows from experience that sparring partners sometimes catch you clean. Sometimes you're working on specific things, and sometimes you're just not mentally prepared for war like you would be in a real fight. John Fury isn't intimidated because he understands this difference better than most people realize. The man has been around combat sports his entire life, and he knows that sparring footage is just training, not a prediction of what happens when two men genuinely want to hurt each other.
So the guy you knocked out in sparring, he's understand, okay, I did this silly move, that's how I got knocked out. So I'm gonna have to stop doing these silly moves so I don't get knocked out. So when people come out and say, oh, I've knocked out in sparring, I stopped doing sparring.
Hold up, because Derek Chisora dropped some serious knowledge that changes everything. Del Boy is pointing out that sparring knockouts rarely translate to real fight success, and the ring under lights presents completely different challenges than a gym session. Experience, pressure, and mental composure matter way more than raw power when you're in there for real. Chisora's seen fighters who look unstoppable in training completely fall apart when the crowd is screaming and the pressure is real. John Fury knows this too, which is why his reaction has been so measured and confident. He's not dismissing Froch's ability, he's dismissing the idea that gym work predicts real fight outcomes.
I would never back against Carl Froch on the cobbles. Ever. But John Fury's a big old lump. There'll be some illegal moves in there. Do you know what I mean? But if they ever get close...
But wait, it gets even more intense. Eddie Hearn is warning everyone about how dangerous this potential clash really is. The Matchroom boss is acknowledging that Froch has elite-level skill and proven knockout power, but John Fury's size, raw aggression, and complete unpredictability make him a nightmare matchup for anyone. Hearn's hinting at something most people don't want to admit. Sometimes skill loses to pure chaos and violence. John Fury represents that old-school, street-fighting mentality where technique goes out the window and it becomes about who wants it more. That's terrifying for any opponent, even someone as accomplished as Carl Froch.
I'm an animal. I'm telling you now, people who know me, or the past, they're all dead who know me. Who could say he can fight? Outside he's an animal. They're all dead and gone. I'm from old school. I'm from the 70s, 80s and 90s, when men was men. We didn't talk down YouTube. So men made videos. We fought.
Here's where John Fury shows you exactly who he really is. The man is laying it all out there, explaining that he comes from the old school where men settled their problems in the ring, not on social media. John's describing himself as a true animal when the cameras aren't rolling, fearless, raw, and absolutely explosive when someone steps to him. Those sparring knockouts don't intimidate him because he's been in real wars where his livelihood and family pride were on the line. His confidence isn't just talk, it's backed up by a lifetime of handling business when it mattered most. The relentless mindset and old-school toughness make him genuinely dangerous for anyone, including a former world champion like Froch.
Back against Carl Froch on the cobbles. Ever. But John Fury's a big old lump. There'll be some illegal moves in there. Do you know what I mean? But if they ever get close, Carl will be swinging.
Now here's the fascinating part that nobody's talking about. Froch is doing this calculated assessment of John Fury, acknowledging the age gap and experience differences while still positioning himself as the man to handle the situation. The Cobra is calling John a big bully, but he's also showing the kind of respect you only give to genuinely dangerous opponents. Froch is reminding everyone of his knockout victories and elite-level skill, but he's being careful not to completely dismiss what John brings to the table. This mix of confidence and caution is creating incredible tension, because you can see Froch calculating every angle while still being ready to make a devastating physical statement if necessary. The drama, respect, and underlying threat are all wrapped into one explosive narrative that has the entire boxing world paying attention.
I'm an animal. I'm telling you now, people who know me, or the past, they're all dead who know me. Who could say he can fight outside?
But here's the real story that everyone's missing. This isn't just about two men trading words and sparring footage. This is about generational differences in how fighters approach combat, respect, and reputation. Froch represents the modern era technical, calculated, and media-savvy. John Fury represents the old-school raw, unpredictable, and willing to settle everything with pure violence. Both approaches are dangerous in their own way, and both men genuinely believe their style would dominate the other. The psychological warfare is already intense, with each man trying to establish dominance before any potential physical confrontation. And honestly, the boxing world is eating this up because it represents something pure about combat sports. Two men who genuinely don't like each other and are willing to prove their point with their fists.
He hits harder than people expect, I think a lot of people, obviously, they pick up on his boxing and how good of a boxer he is, but he hits harder than people expect.
And Dillian Whyte, obviously, I'm sure you've seen. Have you sparred Dillian?
I haven't.
So there you have it. Carl Froch dropped a heavyweight in sparring and thought it would intimidate John Fury, but the Gypsy King fired back with pure old-school confidence and zero fear. This has evolved into a clash between technical skill and raw aggression, between calculated boxing and unpredictable violence. And the crazy part? Both men have legitimate reasons to believe they'd win this fight. Froch has the professional accomplishments and proven knockout power, while John Fury has the size, aggression, and that terrifying unpredictability that can't be taught. Here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Who do you think would really win this fight? And does sparring footage actually mean anything when it comes to predicting real fight outcomes? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening between these two, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because this situation is getting more intense by the day. I'll see you in the next one.
It hits harder than people expect, I think. I think a lot of people, obviously, they pick up on his boxing and how good of a boxer he is, but it hits harder than people expect.
And Dillian Whyte.
But wait, there's something absolutely crucial that nobody's considering in all this madness. John Fury isn't just talking big. He's been studying Carl Froch's entire career, dissecting every single one of his professional fights, and he's found weaknesses that nobody else wants to acknowledge. The man has been watching tape like he's preparing for a world title shot, analyzing how Froch handles pressure fighters, how he reacts when opponents get inside his comfort zone, and most importantly, how he responds when someone refuses to be intimidated by his reputation. John's confidence isn't coming from ignorance. It's coming from genuine tactical preparation, mixed with that old-school belief that heart beats skill when everything's on the line.
Like I might be the chosen one. I feel like it might be my job to finally shut this big gobshite up. All he does is run around, running his mouth, beating his chest, the ultimate man and all that bollocks.
And here's where this gets absolutely wild. Tyson Fury himself stepped into this conversation, backing his father with the kind of confidence that only comes from seeing the man in action behind closed doors. The heavyweight champion of the world is telling everyone that his father's toughness and fighting instinct are on a level that most people can't even comprehend. Tyson's seen John handle situations that would break other men, and he's witnessed firsthand the kind of violence his father can unleash when someone crosses the line. When the lineal heavyweight champion is vouching for your fighting ability, that's not just family loyalty, that's a legitimate endorsement of your capacity for violence. Tyson knows what real fighting looks like at the highest level, and he's still backing his father against a former world champion.
Like I might be the chosen one. I feel like it might be my job to finally shut this big gobshite up. All he does is run around, running his mouth, beating his chest, the ultimate man and all that bollocks. So John, for one final time, listen to me so it goes into that thick skull. I accept your challenge, but know one thing. When that first bell goes, I'm going to come over to your corner and absolutely stick it on you, Cobra style, and set about you and make a mess of you. You know why? Because you're a bully and you need putting in your place.
But check this out, Frank Warren just dropped some insider knowledge that changes the entire narrative. The Hall of Fame promoter is revealing that John Fury's amateur background is way more extensive than people realize, and his understanding of boxing fundamentals is actually elite level despite what his rough exterior might suggest. Warren's pointing out that John didn't just street fight his way through life. He actually has legitimate boxing skills that he's kept hidden from the public eye. This revelation is making Froch's team recalculate everything because they thought they were dealing with a brawler, but they're actually facing someone with real technical ability hidden underneath all that raw aggression. The combination of skill and savagery makes John Fury exponentially more dangerous than anyone initially believed.
It hits harder than people expect, I think. I think a lot of people, obviously, they pick up on his boxing and how good of a boxer he is, but it hits harder than people expect.
And Dillian Whyte, obviously, I'm sure you've seen. Have you sparred Dillian?
I haven't. Dillian's like one fighter I haven't sparred in the UK, so yeah.
Now here's the part that's absolutely blowing my mind. Carl Froch is starting to show signs of genuine respect for what John Fury brings to the table, but he's doubling down on his own advantages in the most calculated way possible. The Cobra is breaking down the technical aspects of what that sparring knockout really showed: perfect timing, devastating accuracy, and the kind of power that doesn't diminish with age. Froch is positioning himself as the thinking man's fighter, someone who uses intelligence and experience to overcome physical disadvantages. But here's what's fascinating. He's also acknowledging that John Fury's unpredictability could create problems that traditional boxing preparation can't solve. The respect is real, the caution is genuine, and the confidence is still unshakable.
Like I might be the chosen one. I feel like it might be my job to finally shut this big gobshite up. All he does is run around, running his mouth, beating his chest, the ultimate man and all that bollocks. So John, for one final time, listen to me so it goes into that thick skull. I accept your challenge, but know one thing. When that first bell goes...
And get this, Ricky Hatton just weighed in with some absolutely brutal honesty about what this fight would really look like. The hitman is breaking down the stylistic matchup in detail, explaining how John Fury's size and aggression could neutralize Froch's technical advantages if he gets inside and makes it ugly. Hatton knows both men personally, understands their fighting styles intimately, and he's painting a picture of a war that could go either way depending on who can impose their game plan first. But here's the kicker: Hatton is also warning that both men are genuinely dangerous enough to end this fight with one perfectly timed shot. The mutual respect from someone who's been in there with world-class fighters is making this potential clash seem even more explosive. But wait, because this story just took another insane turn. John Fury is now revealing specific details about his training regimen and the kind of preparation he's doing in case this fight actually happens. The man isn't just talking, he's putting in serious work, hitting the heavy bag with devastating power, and showing footwork that would surprise anyone who thinks he's just a big, clumsy brawler. John's training footage is starting to circulate, and boxing insiders are genuinely shocked by what they're seeing. His hand speed is legitimate, his power is frightening, and his conditioning is way better than anyone expected. This isn't just an angry father talking big, this is a genuinely skilled fighter preparing for war. Here's something absolutely wild that just came to light. Lennox Lewis dropped some serious knowledge about the psychological warfare happening between these two men. The former undisputed heavyweight champion is explaining how mental games can determine fight outcomes before the first punch is thrown, and both Froch and John Fury are playing this psychological chess match at the highest level. Lewis is pointing out that John's dismissal of the sparring footage was a calculated move to get inside Froch's head, while Froch's release of the knockout video was designed to plant seeds of doubt in John's mind. The mental warfare is already intense, and Lewis believes whoever wins the psychological battle will have a massive advantage when they actually step into the ring. And check this out, Tommy Fury just revealed something that changes everything we thought we knew about his father's fighting ability. The professional boxer is telling stories about John's training sessions that would make your jaw drop, describing power that literally moves heavy bags off their chains and combinations that would trouble professional fighters. Tommy's seen his father work with legitimate contenders and hold his own against men half his age with twice the professional experience. These aren't just family stories, they're first-hand accounts from someone who knows what elite-level boxing looks like. When your son is a professional fighter and he's still impressed by your skills, that tells you everything about the level John Fury is really operating on. Now here's where this gets absolutely insane. Promoters are starting to take this potential fight seriously, with real money being discussed and venues being considered. What started as social media trash talk is evolving into legitimate business negotiations because the public interest is through the roof. Both men are drawing massive attention every time they speak about each other, and smart money people are recognizing the commercial potential of this clash. The demand is real, the animosity is genuine, and the skill level on both sides is high enough to justify a professional bout. We might actually see this fight happen, and that possibility is making both men train and prepare like their reputations depend on it. But here's the part that nobody saw coming. John Fury is starting to break down Carl Froch's most famous victories, pointing out specific moments where the Cobra showed vulnerability against aggressive pressure fighters. John's analysis is surprisingly sophisticated, identifying technical flaws and tactical mistakes that a smart opponent could exploit. He's not just talking tough, he's doing legitimate fight study and finding real weaknesses in Froch's game. This level of preparation is making boxing experts take John seriously as a legitimate threat, because anyone who can break down professional fights with that level of detail clearly understands the sport at a much deeper level than his public persona suggests. And get this, Carl Froch is responding to John's technical criticism with his own breakdown of what happens when raw aggression meets elite-level boxing IQ. The former world champion is explaining how he's dealt with bigger, stronger opponents throughout his career by using superior timing, angles, and ring generalship. Froch is positioning this as a classic boxer versus puncher matchup, where his experience and skill will overcome John's physical advantages. But here's what's fascinating: Froch is also showing genuine respect for John's analytical approach, acknowledging that he's dealing with someone who understands boxing strategy better than expected. The mutual respect is making this potential fight even more intriguing. Now listen to this part. Darren Till just dropped some absolutely wild insight about what John Fury is really like when the cameras aren't rolling. The UFC star has trained with John behind closed doors and describes a completely different animal than what the public sees. Till is talking about explosive power, surprising speed, and a mean streak that comes out when John feels disrespected. These aren't just promotional quotes, they're genuine testimonials from a world-class fighter who's experienced John's intensity firsthand. When someone of Till's caliber is vouching for your fighting ability, that carries serious weight in the combat sports community. Here's something that just blew my mind. John Fury revealed that he's been sparring with active professional heavyweights, and the results are way more competitive than anyone expected. These aren't publicity stunts or easy sessions, they're legitimate training rounds against men who make their living as professional fighters. John's holding his own, landing clean shots, and showing the kind of durability that can only come from a lifetime of hard living and harder training. The sparring partners are coming away impressed, and word is starting to spread through boxing gyms that John Fury is the real deal as a fighter, not just as Tyson's father. But wait, because this story just got even crazier. Eddie Hearn is now seriously considering making this fight happen, and he's talking about it as a legitimate pay-per-view event. The Matchroom boss sees the commercial potential and genuine interest from both hardcore boxing fans and casual observers who want to see this beef settled in the ring. Hearn's involvement means this could actually become a professional bout with proper promotion, drug testing, and all the legitimacy that comes with a major promotional company backing. The possibility of this fight actually happening is making both men prepare like their careers depend on it. And check this out, John Fury just revealed his game plan for dealing with Carl Froch's technical advantages. The strategy is surprisingly sophisticated, involving specific footwork patterns, clinch work, and pressure tactics designed to neutralize Froch's boxing ability. John isn't planning to just swing wildly and hope for the best. He's developing a legitimate tactical approach based on studying Froch's weaknesses and his own physical advantages. This level of strategic thinking is impressing boxing coaches who are starting to see John as a legitimate tactical threat, not just a tough guy with a famous son.